All right, let's move on to talk about home improvement guy Tim Allen. At the time, he was arrested in 1978. His name was Tim Dick. I guess Tim Allen is his acting name.
Tim the Tool Man Taylor.
Yeah, and he got caught at the airport with 650 grams of cocaine. And he ended up receiving a 3 to 7 year sentence. But in his paperwork, it says he had cooperated with providing names of other people that he was involved in these cocaine transactions.
He told on everybody.
Yeah, he told on everyone.
He told on everybody. And a lot of people probably don't know this because when you see him on TV, you know, he happy-go-lucky, you know what I mean? But from what I read, man, he was a cold drug dealer back in the day. Like, he had shit sold up over in his neck of the woods, you know?
Hey, when I'm reading about him, the people who write about this whole thing, I guess they feel sympathetic to him because they want to talk about his tough childhood.
Oh, shit. You was a grown man when you told on them people, man. You knew better.
Yeah. But he got caught with 650 grams, which is, how much is that?
That's almost a kilo. It's probably about 3/4 of a kilo.
And, I mean, to me, that's a lot of cocaine.
No, that's a lot of cocaine. You know, no doubt. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of cocaine, you know.
And I don't know if you know what the 1978 prices of a bird of cocaine was, but if I'm correct, I think back in like 78, a bird was like 40,000.
Yeah, I heard they were sky high back then, you know. So depending on how he was breaking it down, selling it, I mean, man, you know, he could have made a whole lot of money off that.
And then he got caught with this bird at the airport.
Yeah, that made it federal, no doubt, you know, so. Did he end up going to the feds?
Yeah, he did. He ended up going. He did actually 2 years and 4 months. He got released in June of 1981 after getting popped in. I guess this would have been late 1978. Mm-hmm. So, is that a lot of time?
Well, and nowadays we're made to believe that it's not. You know, we made to believe that it's a walk in the park. But I mean, actually, shit, all that time is a lot of time. But I think he would have got more had he wouldn't have told on everybody. He gave them names of damn near everybody he knew. And so I'm sure that dropped it down significantly.
Now, this was a case that happened in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And according to an old newspaper article, it said here Tim Allen was facing more than 20 years and possibly life in prison for just short of a bird.
I don't see that, though. Yeah, I think they exaggerating, just like when some of these people getting caught with drugs or even some of these jury heists, they make it seem like it was a lot more than what it was, money-wise, you know. But hell no, I don't see him getting no life sentence unless they got some kind of different laws up there. But it's federal shit. It's all the same.
Now, when we were talking about T.I., you mentioned these three things that are indicative to you someone's a snitch: a downward departure, Rule 35B, and 5K1.
Right.
These are all federal terms, right?
Right.
Yeah. So for people who are looking at state cases, those terms will not apply. But just briefly define what these mean. What is a downward departure?
A downward departure is when you assist the government in any kind of way in order to get a lesser sentence. So the Rule 35B, what you do is you sign an agreement to help the government in many different ways. You know, you don't have to tell on your co-defendant. You can say, listen, you know, I'm going to set somebody else up, or I'm going to provide information that can get you guys a conviction, you know, out on the street. I'm going to tell you where a house at, where the drugs at. I'm going to tell you where a house at, where the guns at. And with those convictions, you knock my time off, you know. So they got different kinds, like you say, but it's all the same thing. It's all snitching.
And the 5K1?
5K1 is the same thing. You know, if you go to, I don't know if Pacer still have it on there, but I used to pull up people name on Pacer, and you go in there, and if you go at the look for it, you'll see a 5K1, but a lot of people didn't know what it was. And it was also a downward departure. Basically, you agreed to assist the government for a lesser sentence, you know, so you provided information or you set somebody up. And in a few cases I've read, there's been guys have been let out for a few days to go make something happen, to come back and, you know, honor what they decided to do as far as help the government.
So you would be able to find these types of documents on the Pacer website?
No doubt. I used to find them all the time, but I know they was getting strict on certain things that they were posting, you know. Or you can go to a guy's court docket and you can see how many times he been in and out of court and shit, and see if you got a bunch of sealed stuff on his court dockets. You know what I mean? And all this sealed shit, what is you sealing? Basically, covering up, the actions that you telling on somebody. You know what I mean? But yeah, you catch a dude with a Rule 35B or you catch a dude with a 5K1 on his paperwork. I mean, you got to smash them right then and there because they're a rat.
So do you think that the federal government or whoever's in charge of that federal website is aren't putting that information in there like they used to? Is it changing?
Well, what they did was they stopped allowing us to have our paperwork in prison. So for guys who already had it, of course, it was grandfathered in there. Sometimes if they searched your cell and found it, if it was just right there, they'll take it. But they also know that it was intricate, part of people being able to stay on the yard, so it's a double-edged sword, you know what I mean? But they try to keep the paperwork off the yard so we won't find out dudes is rat, but we're going to find out.
Okay, so let's say, for example, Tim Allen, or his complete name is Tim Dick Allen, or Tim Allen Dick. Let's say when he got to the yard, I don't know if this was like this back in 1978, 79, but he clearly cooperated with authorities. He clearly provided names of other people involved in drug trafficking. What would be on Tim Allen's paperwork when he got to the feds?
And his plea agreement would have been how he was able to obtain this sentence. So it would have said that he helped the government, he assisted the government in this by providing names. If you, like you say, you going further, you go to his sentencing transcripts. His sentencing transcripts are definitely going to say why he got the downward departure, why he only got 2 or 3 years. They're definitely going to say that. Now, the yard that he went to back then, was it an all-white yard? We talking about 78, 79. Blacks wasn't in the feds as deep as they are right now with the gang politics like they were back then.
Yeah, that's true.
So he could have hit the yard and nobody gave a damn because they lived so plush in the feds back in those days. Hey, you know what I mean? I don't know how they carried it. And you talking about he was up in Michigan. So he could have been around a bunch of white folks that didn't even give a shit about what he was in jail for. He could have just said, man, I got a dope case. And nobody said, I got one too. Never cared about looking at each other's paperwork.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it don't look like he ever got handled for it.
Well, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go to Pacer and I'm gonna pull up his case, man, and I'm gonna see if it comes up. It won't come up if he never filed an appeal or never went to trial. So, but if it's in there, I want to see what it does say, just to see if Pacer still, putting them out there like they should. We got a right to know.
Yeah, I guess it's one part of it. It's dangerous for the federal government to put these documents out there like that because the people who are actually helping them, they're also exposing them, right? Through the system.
No doubt, but you should know that when you go tell them, people don't give a shit about you. They're going to get what they want out of it. They're going to get the whoever you set up, they're going to go get them people. They don't give a damn about you.
Well, Tim Allen got sent to a FCI back in 1978, so that meant that it was considered a serious offense.
Right, no doubt, because, but like I say, he was the man. They probably tracked him for a couple years before they actually got him.
But he only did 2 years and 4 months in the FCI. Will they send you to an FCI for that least amount of time today?
Yeah, they will. I know a guy. He got caught up in the FEMA when they were doing the FEMA fraud, and he didn't even get sentenced. He got 6 months probation, and then he violated the probation. He had never been to the feds a day in his life, and they sent him to a FCI. But he had been in the state prison before. You know what I mean? So back then, that FCI right there could have been so soft, though. It could have been like a low. So they probably knew, maybe nothing would have happened to him, They know.
All right. Well, I think without saying, I already know what you're stamping on Tim Allen's.
Oh, yeah, no doubt,
Wow.
man. Hey, don't.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, he became a big TV star, and it didn't seem to hurt him. It doesn't always hurt everybody, but it did seem to affect Lil C's career, at least in the hip hop world.
No doubt. In the black community, like you say, they take it more serious, And Tim, who knew that? I mean, I didn't know all these years. I used to watch his show and all that. I never knew he was a rat. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
And I even look at him different now.
Thanks for watching this video clip of Streets and Scholars podcast with Alex, Alonso, and FG. If you want to listen to the entire episode, go to your favorite podcast platform and type in Streets and Scholars. But we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. And thanks for listening to another episode of Streets and Scholars.